Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'm a little nervous, but I have a question. I'm from a different part of the world where the energy system seems to be, or the vibrational system seems to be a little low or a little bit closed. I'm from Egypt, from the Middle East, and I'm wondering why there aren't opportunities for people in the Middle East or in Egypt to have Abraham or groups like Abraham provide them with opportunities of seeing other ways of living, other ways of thinking, other ways of being. Why isn't this kind of sort of spirituality being expanded and shared with parts of the world that need healing?
Well, the thing is, if someone, a lot of people or one person in Egypt is asking, source energy is answering. So the question isn't, why is it not being offered? The question is, why is it not being received? And we want to soothe you a little bit by saying to you that at one time, that particular region of the world was experiencing more personal enlightenment than the rest of the world all put together. In other words, it's not a place that's void of connection with source energy. And so we wouldn't spend any more time beating the drum of why isn't something better. We would begin from your vantage point imagining it being better. In other words, it only takes one here and another here and another here. Esther was just someone who was bipping along, living happily ever after, who happened to be married to someone who had insatiable questions. He never stops having questions. He has written more questions for himself today than the rest of you put together, or nearly so. In other words, he will peruse his notes, he will contemplate them, he will listen to this again, he will talk to Esther about it. In other words, this seminar, as far as Jerry is concerned, has only just now begun. He will whittle it down. He will make an edited version. He will make a longer, raw version of this seminar. It will be sent to someone in Colorado who will transcribe it word for word. He will receive it back. He will read every single word about it. In other words, and still his questions will not be satisfied. Because with every answer, wonderful answers that they are, is another question that is bubbling up from within, you see. And so we want you to accept that there will be no ending to the answers that are forthcoming, and no ending to the new questions that are coming. And no place on this planet is being deprived of that connection. So here is Esther. Now, at first, when through a process of meditation, she realized that she was receiving and brilliance was flowing through her. And in the beginning, it was really startling to her because she couldn't believe. Jerry recorded everything that Abraham has ever said, and Esther would hear it back, and she just couldn't believe that those words had flowed through her. She couldn't believe that that clarity had flowed through her about things that she really did not know that much about, you see. And so she made Jerry, because it seemed very weird to her, she made him promise that he would not ever tell anyone. She did not care how wonderful it was. She didn't want anyone to know how weird she is. And we think that that is the saddest part about all of this, because what that says is those who have somehow stumbled upon the process that allows them to open to the energy that creates worlds and allow God force to flow through them, talk about enlightenment, are afraid because they're different from everyone else that it should be something that should be kept a secret. In other words, that's a big part of what keeps more people from having direct contact, because you're sort of made fun of. We were visiting with a woman the other day who has a brilliant little boy who is 5 years old, who the teachers cannot corral or contain. And we said, good, 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 good. In other words, he's still his own person, and we are encouraging his mother to allow him to be his own person. We said, but it is an interesting analogy. It's like he's walking around all whole and sure in a group of people in a village where everybody else is limping. And because he's the only one that's not limping, they're calling him weird. And trying to teach him how to limp. And if he refuses to limp, they'll just club him in the knee. So that he too will begin to limp, you see. And it's that sort of thing that really is at the heart of the answer to your question. So many people are afraid to be who they really are, because when they be who they really are, they're so secure that the insecure ones around them who are trying to keep them from being secure, well-meaning most of them, but those who don't know just outnumber those who know, until those who know refuse to admit that they know. And in time, you've got an epidemic of those who seem not to know, and then you say, why don't they know? And we say, they knew. And they can know again. It just takes one or two here and there. And so, worry not, the word is out.
So what role could I play as an individual who lives here and who goes back and sees that people are holding on, the majority are holding on to a religion that is misinterpreted and that is creating a lot of sort of lowering the vibration?
We say this to all teachers and uplifters, and you certainly are that. If your vibration is here in a place of knowing and trusting and feeling good, and you have a student who's in a place of despair or fear, no matter how good your words are, they can't hear them because the vibrational difference is too far. So, what you do, you acclimate to a place that is more suited to you, and you trust, and this is the part where the hope comes in, you trust that the teachers that are closer to where they are can get their attention and make them hear. And then the teachers that are closer to where they are can get their attention and make them hear. This is the leading edge of thought. In other words, this arena, while it is so satisfying to you, is not all that satisfying to most. There is never a crowd on the leading edge. But that does not mean that where everybody else isn't just fine. Don't beat up on yourself for not being up here in joy all of the time. Make peace with where you are, and then it can get better. And so that's what we would say if we were talking to them. We would try to soothe them. We would try to say, you're doing all right. We would not condemn them as backward or in the dark. We would not give them a label of lower vibration. We would say it is a different vibration. We would say they are still asking. We would step back and acknowledge who they really are. They're still seeking. There's not one right lifestyle on this planet. In other words, we would not begin to profess that our method of teaching is more effective or more valuable or more powerful or more important or more right than Sai Baba's, but it is different, you see.
Thank you very much. I appreciate this. Thank you.